Hello, and welcome to another video. And in this video, I am looking at my beginner set that I brought in my Chiton and Castlemaine haul, which I will link here as it was quite interesting. I got a lot of different goodies, and I definitely reckon you should check it out if you're interested in hauls at all. But in this set, it came with some paper from Arto by Campap, the Derwent Inktense Intro Set, and a Sakura Koi watercolor brush. Um, Before we get started, I thought I'd try something new and have a hot chocolate with you guys. I got this Cocoa Traveler set, globally inspired Cocoa Traveler, and I thought I would try the English flavor, which is gingerbread cookie, apparently. And I tried the English one because Derwent is an English brand, which is where my mind went. It's tasty, a little heavy on the aniseed for my taste, which I wasn't expecting in a gingerbread cookie flavor, but still quite good. So, if that is in a TK Maxx or TJ Maxx near you, depending on where you live, I would recommend picking it up. At least that first flavor is good. Um, but Arto by Campap is the paper here. It is a Malaysian brand. They do stationery, and Arto is their art division. They also do really pretty wrapping paper. Um, so definitely something to look into. I'd never heard of them before. And I also have used the Fabriano Artistico spiral bound watercolor book as a comparison, as the Arto paper is cellulose and it's quite an interesting texture. I think you can see it on the camera here how it's quite different. It's almost got like it reminds me of linen in a way, that way linen is weft together, although it's not like that at all. It just looks that way. But anyway, the pencils, it's a 10 set in the intro, and we have Sun Yellow, 0 200, Tangerine 0 300, Poppy Red 0 400, Fuchsia 0 700, Sea Blue 1200, Deep Indigo 1100, Apple Green 1400, Leaf Green 1600, Egg Earth 1800, and Ink Black 2200. So there's quite a good range there. You have all your primaries, red, blue, yellow, two blues. So you have your dark and your light, as well as your convenience greens, orange, pink, and black. And there is a brown which swatches out as a quite nice brown. When it's wet, it isn't probably as strong as you'd like. But as with most Derwent pencils, you can mix them. So as you can see here, that is definitely brown, but once water is added to it, it is a little less brown. But I'm very happy to finally have the chance to try the Inktense pencils. I had heard how they were different from your typical watercolor, and I really wanted to try them out for myself. So this set was a nice sort of smaller set. I'm not spending a lot of money to get these, and it did come with a really nice pouch. Like, it's very sturdy and stable and will definitely be able to be used for something else, even if I don't end up keeping the pencils in there. Now, I will say they do wet really nicely, and the colors are extremely vibrant and very pretty. Like that sun yellow there is almost neon-esque. It has that bright vibrancy. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that I love bright colors. I love sparkly things. I love boldness. Um, well, I mean, say this every video. I pretty much like anything when it comes to color. So I just did a video on the Derwent Tints, and I talked about how much I loved the muted colors in that set. Um, I tested the paper a little bit here, trying to see how much it could, how much water it could retain as it is cellulose, and you could see it started to pill a little bit, but it lifted decently. Now, trick with Inktense is it stays pretty firm once it dries. So if you let it dry too much, you won't be able to do any lifting. But while it's wet, it's still pretty malleable. At least that's my understanding of it, because it's different from your typical watercolor pencils. But I don't mind the paper, the Arto paper. Now it does warp a bit. Potentially, if you stuck the paper down flat and weren't doing what I was doing, it would stick better. But I find that texture that it is quite interesting. I don't know that you're going to get the best array with watercolor on it. But it is very interesting, and I definitely am looking forward to trying it more. Now, as you can see, the baked earth is a very washed out orange brown once you add water to it, which I do find quite disappointing. I know you can mix your colors, but when you want to have a good, solid sort of brown, it's disappointing in the set. Uh, everything else I'm really, really happy with. Like that apple green is so vibrant as well. It's stunning. And the fuchsia, I love pinks, so I am so, so happy with that. Now I thought I'd do a little drawing just on that Arto paper, just really pushing it a bit more. Now it's a bit slapped together, vaguely following a reference just to get the idea of shapes and colors, and just trying to use as many as possible, mix them all together, see how, firstly, I can work with these pencils, as they are supposed to be different from your typical watercolor. And I do really like them. I think they're really quite fun, and they are vibrant. Um, as you can see, the paper is peeling a little as it is cellulose, and I am being heavy handed with the water, but some of that is also air bubbles. There is air bubbles in there as well from the water brush and the application. But I definitely like the Inktense pencils. They are popular for a reason. The paper itself, like I said, I enjoy the texture. It's very interesting. And I will probably use it a few more times for watercolor, test it out, but I might even use my ink on it. It does warp a bit with a lot of moisture. Um, it's cellulose paper, you get what you get. But of the cellulose papers I've used, definitely up there with the best. I've definitely had worse paper that has tried to label itself as watercolor paper. So this is a bit of a pleasant surprise, and it's a lot of fun to work with. Um, it can handle more than expected, so pleasantly surprised. I think I use almost every color from the set except the apple green and ink black. Everything else I'm testing out here in my beach scene with a conch shell. Um, sort of messing around very loose and letting it all sort of blend in together. It's a lot of fun to be messy and to allow yourself to be messy. This isn't going anywhere. This is just for me, just to play with these for the first time. And I had a really good time. Um, So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Inktense pencils. I definitely recommend them if there's something you're interested in. The Arto paper, if you're able to get it nearby, very cheap. It has a fun, different texture. So that might be something worth messing around with. If you're into crafting, you could definitely use it in many different ways. But for watercolor, I wouldn't, go out reaching for it. And the Kurokoi water brush is a water brush. It does what it's supposed to do. The hot chocolate was very tasty. I hope you had a tasty drink as well. But that's pretty much it for this video. I want to thank everyone that's commenting on my videos and subscribe to me. It's really, really lovely. I'm sorry I'm not as fast on responding as I should be, but thank you all for watching. And if I'm lucky, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.